Hi everyone, my name is Annabelle, and on this channel I talk about my bulimia recovery journey. As you can guess from the title, this video is about how I'm planning to survive Christmas this year. But before I talk about that, I want to give you a little bit of a background so you understand what exactly I need to survive. A couple of weekends ago, I visited my partner's grandma's house. We go there a couple of times a year to celebrate birthdays with the whole family, to celebrate holidays like Christmas and Easter, and there's a concert that we go to once a year that sort of became like a tradition. So we were there actually for that concert this time. We were there for the weekend, so we spent the night. I absolutely love it there. Grandma, I call her grandma, kind of like caught myself doing that a couple of months ago, or actually now, a year and so ago. But anyway, she lives in an old town of, I think, 2,000 people, something around that. And it's a place where there's a lot of farmlands and a forest nearby. So it's very, very calm. The only thing you hear there is the occasional car driving by, horses, sheep, chickens, roosters, you name it. I love it there. It's so peaceful, and I spend a lot of time just walking in the forest, and usually with a podcast or an audiobook, just walking and listening and just being in nature, which is my happy place basically. But it can also be very challenging for me to be there because Grandma, who is 93 by the way and still kicking, knock on wood, she's the one who does most of the cooking, and she doesn't really care about her protein intake or how much fat or sugar is in dishes. She puts ridiculous amounts of butter in everything. So even though her food is absolutely delicious, it can be very heavy. And if I'm not very careful with the portions or what I'm eating, I might end up bloated. And then it used to happen to me that I would just get extremely uncomfortable throughout the day, and it will be the only thing that I'm thinking about, the fact that I'm bloated. Of course, I never binged and purged around my family, my partner or his family, or anywhere outside. Never really did that. So I would just end up with this uncomfortable feeling, and then that would result in a lot of negative thoughts. My insecurity will come up, and not the best of times. So I learned throughout the times visiting them how much to eat and so on. And also my partner and I started taking protein with us. So either low-fat mozzarella or cans of tuna or just plain old protein powder, just so we can get our daily protein intake because we don't usually get it from the food there. Every day around 3 p.m. they serve coffee and cake, which is actually my favorite part and I look forward to it. But again, it's not really something that my body is used to. I'm not used to eating cake multiple times a day. So last time it was on the weekend, so it was only one day actually that I get cake, which was fine. But on Christmas, it's 5 days usually of cake, which again, my body is not used to. Aside from that, I spend most of the time in the living room, and the living room is filled with snacks. I'm talking candy, chocolates, crackers, biscuits, anything, you name it, waffles, potato chips, literally everything you can think of you can find in this like tiny room. And because I spend most of the day there and I'm surrounded by these things, I cannot help but think about eating them. Up until I think about a couple of weeks ago, I still couldn't have foods around my own house that I wouldn't be tempted to binge on. Whenever I would buy something that, like, let's say cookies or potato chips or whatever it is, if I know that I have it around the house, I'm gonna eat the whole thing. So I never actually used to buy these things. Only recently have I started to like test the waters, because now I am 70 plus days binge and purge free. So I'm just testing the waters to see what I can handle, let's call it. So last weekend, it was I think 2 weekends ago, 3 weekends ago, something around that. So I was thinking about, okay, let's see how can I handle this. And it was actually better than expected, but still the fact that I'm sitting so many hours in that room, I cannot help but think about eating some of these things. And especially on days where it's easy for me when I'm at home and I'm working and my mind is preoccupied with something, either working or writing or whatever it is, that I don't think about these things. But when I'm at Grandma's place, my mind is free to wander, let's say. I do read, I listen to podcasts, I watch YouTube, sometimes Netflix, but there's only so much I can do that, you know? And I wake up pretty early, I go for a walk, and then by the time I come home, there are still usually a couple of hours left for lunch. And I do eat breakfast, mind you, but because I take these long walks, I get hungry way faster than I do at home. And again, I'm not really doing anything to preoccupy my mind. So for example, that weekend I went for a very long walk around 9 a.m. I think it was an hour and a half, something like that, in the forest. And I was listening to Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which I absolutely recommend this book. It's so beautiful. It talks about living a creative life, but I found so many things in it, so many tips and perspective and ideas that I think can apply beautifully to bulimia recovery and literally anything else in life. So I highly recommend it, not just if you're a creative, if you're a human being. Definitely one of those books that I'm gonna read again. But anyway, so I was listening to that for an hour and a half, and then when I got back, I needed a break from it because, again, there's only so much I can listen to and for my mind to focus on without a break. So I got back around 11, and then there was 1 more hour to lunch, and I desperately wanted to eat something, but I wanted to wait for lunch. So I was sitting on the sofa in the living room thinking about what I'm gonna eat next, and I'm bored and I don't have anything to do. I just tried reading, but something about Grandma's place is it's not very well lit. The living room where I sit, it's not very well lit, and Grandma doesn't like when you turn on the light during the day. So sometimes I turn the light on and then she comes in and she shuts it without saying anything, and then she just goes. So I was like, okay, lesson learned. And that voice in my head just kept getting louder and louder. Okay, go find something. So I thought to myself, okay, I'll go find an apple or something. And usually they have a lot of fruits lying around, but I couldn't find anything. And I was actually surprised by that. Anyway, long story short, I ended up eating some pretzels that I found, which I wasn't very happy with, especially because, again, lunch was an hour away. But I didn't want to think too much of it. I didn't want to obsess over it, so I just waved it off as like, okay, whatever, my body needed to eat, and that's that. I'm not gonna deprive it from eating. And we ended up eating 40 minutes later anyway, so that was fine. But because I had eaten those pretzels, I had made a mental note of that, and I knew that the cake is gonna happen at 3, and I was trying to sort of restrict myself, to tell myself, okay, just eat one slice, because usually I have to, or like depends on the spread. Just eat one slice, and I ended up eating 2 slices and a bunch of cookies. I felt very bad about that. And then dinner happened a couple of hours later, and I ate also way more than I wanted. And so I was feeling a bit bloated, not that much, but I was feeling a bit bloated and also a bit disappointed in myself for eating the way I did. But I decided to look at this day as sort of a lesson for me of what to do around Christmas time, because there's a lot of things there that I learned and I wanted to pay attention to when it comes to Christmas or any other holiday or extended period of time that I'm going to be spending there. One thing that is important to me to say before I get to that is no time during that discomfort or knowing the fact that I ate so much. Did I talk badly to myself? Did I shame myself or just say bad things to myself about that? Because I don't do that. I think that I'm gonna be living with myself forever and I'm gonna treat myself like the person that I love the most in the world, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense to me. And I don't think that shaming or blaming or talking badly to somebody ever does anything good. It's not a good motivator in my opinion. And so I just told myself, I love you. I know that you're feeling uncomfortable right now, but this discomfort is gonna go away tomorrow, and tomorrow is a new day. And it's exactly what happened. The next day I woke up, the feeling was gone, and I ate normally that day. I didn't restrict because I learned that, and also that day reminded me that restricting only results in me eating more, because my brain thinks that if I'm not gonna be able to eat these foods anymore, then it goes into panic mode and it just wants to grab on to anything that it finds at the moment. So there was no restricting. And I also understand that just because I ate something or I ate more than I thought I needed to eat in a certain day, the next day is a whole new day. Like my body still needs the nutrition. It still needs to be fed, and I'm gonna give it the food that it needs. I'm not gonna fast or restrict myself or anything like that. And I also chose to treat myself compassionately because I understand that I struggled with bulimia for 15 years and it's not gonna take one day for me to overcome it. And it's gonna take a long time for me to overcome my emotional eating, if ever. I am very aware that this might be a lifelong thing to unlearn or to try to untangle this huge web that has been knit since I was very little. So emotional eating is a thing for me and it's not gonna go away like that. So I understand, and that's okay. So I always choose to treat myself kindly. So again, I ended up grateful for this day because thanks to it, I created this survival guide for Christmas. Number 1, take more than one walk in a day and listen not just to podcasts, but also to audiobooks. So previously when I used to go to grandma's house, I would listen to only podcasts, and only recently have I discovered audiobooks. I think I had a resistance toward them because I love seeing words and I love seeing sentence structure. And I'm a person who, I'm not really a good learner. If you say something to me, I am a good learner when I read. That's how I absorb information the best. So lectures, for example, in university were a complete waste of time for me because I needed to read the material in order to understand it and sometimes reread a couple of sentences. So I always prefer to read my books and not listen to them. And I also love to highlight. I love to write notes. My books look completely... I will never let anybody borrow them unless it's like a really, really good friend, because they're just filled with remarks and just ideas and whatever it is. Yeah, with audiobooks, you cannot really do that. I try to sometimes timestamp, like take a screenshot of the timestamp in the book that I want to get back to later, but it's just not the same thing. Every single book that I listen to and I love, I just buy it later in hard copy because I just want to highlight it again and just go back to some ideas that really spoke to me and I took something from. So anyway, and I think also listening to audiobooks will allow me to, when I'm sitting on that sofa, to just close my eyes and keep listening to the book, as opposed to switch into a podcast or something like that. And I used to also take only one walk a day for some reason, but like I'm allowed to take more walks than just one, so I'm gonna do that as well from now on. Instead of just, if I'm sitting there and I'm doing nothing, then might as well just go for a walk. The second thing is help around the house more. Now, this is something that I always wanted to do, but because, you know, when you're new to somebody's family, at least for me, I'm always hesitant of when I can offer help because I don't really know how the person is going to take it. And the last thing I want to do is offend somebody by mistake. So for example, in my family, if I ever offer to help or clean, people will take it as me saying, your house is dirty, you should be ashamed of yourself. Whereas in my opinion, in my perspective, this was, hey, I see that you have a lot going on and I want to help you. No judgment there. Like, everybody's house gets dirty because you're living in it. So as I get to know my partner's family a little bit more, I kind of understand their vibe and they don't really read into anything that I say, which is really nice to live that way, to be honest. So I started offering doing the dishes more so they can rest as well, and for me to be preoccupied with something. And I'm also gonna offer to do other stuff around the house if I see that something needs cleaning or something needs organizing or whatever it may be. That will also help me connect with them better as well as keep me occupied. Number 3, bring fruit and sugar-free snacks with me. Now, I'm not really concerned about sugar when I'm at grandma's house because it's just inevitable. I'm gonna eat the fucking sugar. But sugar-free snacks, they don't bloat me as much as sugary snacks, so I kind of opt to take them from time to time when I do want to snack on something, but I don't want to eat something sugary, especially in the morning. And also fruit, just to make sure that it's there, because again, if I choose between cracker and fruit, I'm always going to take fruit. I also actually prefer it, like taste-wise. So yeah, just to not be in a situation again where I'm looking for something, I can find it, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, what I'm going to do now? Number 4, eat slowly without rushing. When I first met my partner's family, it was a couple of years ago, and I wasn't, I've grown so much since then. I was super self-aware, super self-conscious. I didn't have the highest, I did have high self-esteem, but not as high as I have it now, and definitely wasn't as confident. And because, again, all my life I had people scrutinizing me and judging me on how I eat, my partner's family don't do that. Nobody comments on anybody's eating habits. There's nothing, nobody comments about anybody's looks ever, which is pretty awesome. I really needed that in my life. And it took me a while to get used to this, or to sort of understand that there's no hidden intention there, and to get comfortable when I'm eating in front of them. So in the past, I would just literally wolf down my food because I would want to get it over with. We eat in the living room, and of course, naturally, when you're sitting around the table, you're gonna face some people. So I used to be extremely self-conscious of people watching me eat. But when I would look actually at their faces, I realized that nobody was looking at me. Everybody was just looking at their own plate and eating their own food. So yeah, I used to eat super fast to get it over with. But recently I've been just taking it easy. Because again, when I'm eating fast, I also tend to eat more than I want because I'm not really in tune with my body's needs. I'm just seeing, oh, potatoes, oh, cabbage, oh, this, let's take it. And then let's take seconds and fast, fast, fast. Okay, that's enough. But like, I'm not really eating or paying attention to my body's needs. I'm just eating because I know that taking seconds is something that I do. So it's kind of weird. There's still some work to do there for me in terms of, am I actually full right now or do I want to keep eating? It's still something that I need to work on a lot because for the longest time I didn't. I was just portioning my meals according to some arbitrary measure that I decided that this is what I eat. But now that I said in the last video, I'm on this mission to understand what my body actually feels like without an eating disorder. This is something that I need to pay more attention to. So yeah, slowing down, chewing my food, then swallowing. Number 5 is take my 2-liter bottle of water with me. So this is something that I actually experience anywhere that I go, not just at grandma's house, that I drink less water than I do when I'm at home. Naturally. Sometimes as well when I'm out, I kind of have a fear of not finding a bathroom, so I don't drink as much water when I'm out. And then I get dehydrated, or not dehydrated, but I get super thirsty and I mix being thirsty with hungry. So I end up eating more. So this time at Christmas, I'm gonna take my 2-liter bottle of water with me and I'm gonna make sure that I get enough water that I need throughout the day. Number 6, take 10 minutes at a time. So this is for those times where I've done my walk, I listened to the podcast, I watched the YouTube channel, I tried to read, I finished reading. Still 1 hour left until food or until anything happens. What do I do? So I used to look at the clock and just panic because, oh my God, there's an hour left. An hour is a very long time when you're actually waiting for it to pass. So this time I'm gonna just take it 10 minutes at a time, 5 minutes at a time even, and just think, what can I do for the next 10 minutes that will take my mind off of food, off of snacking, off of these voices in my head telling me to eat just one thing. So, and that's what I'm gonna do. I think this is gonna be a good approach because I think like anything we try to do, when we look at like the big chunk, it seems very intimidating, and this is why it's smart to actually cut it down to smaller sizes, and then that seems way more manageable. 10 minutes, just sitting on the couch for 10 minutes, even meditating, seems way more doable than sitting for an hour on the couch meditating. So I think I'm gonna go with that approach. Number 7, get out of the house more, not just for walks, but even just go to the yard. Grandma has a beautiful big yard. She has chickens, a lot of apple trees, a lot of plants. So just get out there, smell the fresh air. It's gonna be December, so it's gonna be cold, but I think I can survive if I just like focus on the plants or leaves or whatever it is. Just like sometimes I play a game when I'm out of like notice 5 things that I'm seeing right now, 5 things that I'm smelling, 5 things that I'm, whatever it may be, that I'm hearing, that I'm touching. I think this can be a great way to just take my mind off of things. Hi! So I moved here because my light source died and I have absolutely no patience to wait for it until it charges. So here we are. Moving on to number 8, write it out. So I journal every single morning and I take my journal with me wherever I'm staying somewhere overnight. So naturally, I also take it to grandma's house and I journal in the morning, but I was recently thinking about, I journal for the purpose of making sense of the thoughts that are in my head when I have like intrusive thoughts or something that's been bugging me or just something that I'm actually wondering about. So it doesn't have to be something that is negative or whatever. I have actually many ideas that I like exploring, so I just write them out because it makes way more sense to me to, you know, when you're writing, at least for me, because my thoughts go so fast, writing forces them to slow down because I need to make sense of them if I'm gonna be writing them down, if that makes sense. So I was thinking, you know, in these times when the thoughts of eating are getting too loud, just to start writing and then see what happens. Because oftentimes, as I'm writing, I start thinking of different ideas. Sometimes I start writing with the purpose of writing one thing, but then just the ideas flow and there's always something interesting that comes up. So I was thinking, I can do this whenever I'm, again, in those moments where I'm waiting for food to happen or I'm just snacking because I'm bored or whatever it is, I can just do that instead. And the last item on my guide to surviving Christmas is connecting more with my partner's family. So usually on Christmas, I like to take the time to just check out books that I want to buy, watch Netflix shows, things that I don't usually do in my day-to-day because I'm busy with work and this project and writing, everything. I often don't have downtime where I'm just sitting and not doing anything and relaxing, and yeah, so I like to take that time to just become a couch potato. Once a year, I like to do that. But I feel like in the past Christmas and the past Easter as well, I've been doing that a bit too much, also on the expense of spending time with my partner and his family. I mean, we do play cards together, and I do help his dad out with baking cakes and things like that because I just love baking and I also love hanging out with him. But last time, for example, I offered to help cook, like peel potatoes, do something, whatever it may be, because they make these big dishes, right? So I'm thinking I need to do more of that. Also, again, this whole idea of offering help and being more involved, I feel way more comfortable doing it now, so I'm just gonna initiate. Also, this is something I don't really do because they're a family, and of course I'm the visitor. I don't initiate to do things. I don't initiate, hey, let's play cards, or hey, let's have some music on, or hey, maybe we can put a movie in the background or something like that. So I usually just wait for them to say, let's play cards, and then I join, or let's go for a walk, and then I join. But I feel like now I can initiate some more and also connect with them more. And that's it. That's what I'm gonna do this Christmas to try to survive. I will report back on how all of that worked and what didn't work, what worked better than other things, and so on. But I'm curious about you. What do you feel coming up for you when you visit your family's house or anywhere where you spend Christmas? What do you think you need to work on more? And what can you do to kind of tackle it this Christmas? Just like, let's come prepared, right? I always encourage you, to observe your behaviors, to observe what comes up for you, not from a judgmental place again, but from a place of, let's try to understand myself so I can become my best friend and live the happy, fulfilled life that I want, So always come at it from this perspective. So I really encourage you, if you have these bad moments with your family, or like your last visit you felt not so great, what can you do about that? How will your survivor guide look like? I'll look forward for your comment, and if you don't want to comment because it's way too public, I totally get you. You can send me a message on Instagram, or better yet, Substack. Everything is linked in the description. All of my videos can be found as articles on Substack. So if you want to read this and you want to, go back to it, but you don't want to watch the video and you just want to read some information or go back to a specific section that I talked about, again, you can find it on my Substack. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I want you to know that even though I don't know you, I know that you're very strong, and I know that you will overcome your bulimia. Okay? If I did it after 15 years, believe me, you can do it as well. All right. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.